Hi, I'm Jen Weitzel, Managing Consultant at Fund Consulting. Today I'm going to provide some guidance on how to talk about outputs and impact in the FA application. First, what's the difference between outputs and impact? Outputs are measurable and readily determined. They are the direct result of an organization's activities. Impact, on the other hand, are the short-term or long-term direct or indirect effect of your activities. How you evaluate the success of your activities is impact. What are some examples of outputs and impact? Outputs can be the number of borrowers, the number of loans, the dollar amount of loans, number of development service participants, and the number of affordable housing units developed, just to give you some examples. Impact, on the other hand, could be something like the increased credit score for borrowers as a result of your activities, the increased savings that a borrower experiences, such as fees and interest saved by taking out a CDFI's loan versus taking out a loan from a predatory lender. There's also the impact of increased housing affordability and housing stability. This is key when it comes to affordable housing development, as well as access to first-time homebuyer mortgages, so first-time homebuyers can access more affordable homes. There's also the impact of increased access when it comes to increased access to retail and community services, increased access to healthy foods, and increased access to transportation or even higher wage jobs. For homeowners and business owners that receive assistance from a CDFI, there's also the impact of building equity through access to homeownership as well as access to business ownership. Related to businesses, business impact could be business sustainability and longevity, demonstrated by the increase in a business revenue, the number of jobs created or retained. For development service participants, an impact could be the increased knowledge about different financial tools, increased knowledge of a credit score, increased knowledge of savings and saving strategies, as well as kind of increased access to financial tools to help achieve your personal or business financial goals. There are also the long-term social impacts, such as healthier communities, improved living conditions, community revitalization as a result of your CDFI's activities, greater financial security for participants and other community members. So why is a discussion of outputs and impact important for the FA application? So in the FA application, the CDFI Fund wants to see that your organization can demonstrate both the outputs and the impact of your work. It's often easier for an organization to talk about outputs. It's an easier piece of data to track within your own systems from, application and intake forms. So it often can be easier to see, to quantify the number of borrowers, the dollar amount of loans that were closed, the number of development service participants. But really, it is critical to be able to demonstrate that your CDFI can speak to the long and short-term and long-term impacts resulting from your activities. Also, as part of the CDFI Fund's FA application review, in particular Step 4, the Policy Objective Review, this review has a heightened focus on impact. During this step, the CDFI Fund staff will look at your application and look at the organization and ask these following questions. So how are you creating impacts, and how will your financial product and service interventions create long-term impacts? Will your CDFI's products and services result in meaningful and quantifiable expansion of economic opportunities for the communities and populations that you serve? Also, the CDFI Fund is going to want to see that you have a way to measure your impacts and the quality of your impact. So now for some tips for the FA application as it relates to a discussion of outputs and impact. So while there are places throughout the FA application where you should include information about outputs and impact, there's some key places where a discussion is really important. So in the business strategy itself, you'll want to demonstrate that you have a track record of achievements both in terms of outputs and impact. Also, you'll want to demonstrate to the CDFI Fund what you'll be able to achieve in both outputs and impact with the support of an FA award. The community coordination strategy and efforts question also should include a discussion of output and impact. In particular, what impact has resulted from your participation in community and community economic development efforts, community development efforts, and coordinated efforts with community groups. There's also the partnerships question, which you will again talk about what are the results of your partnerships in your communities and how do they further the achievement of your FA objective and strategic goals. There's also the product and services impacts question, where you will go into deep detail about your track record of outputs and impact, as well as what you expect to achieve as a result of the FA award. When you include information on anticipated impacts, make sure you include your method for how you calculate these impacts. Any formal impact measurement that occurs at the organization is key to highlight, whether that happens internally or if you have an outside party come in and help you with impact measurement. It's also great to include any information on the results of formal surveys that have been conducted with borrowers or development service participants, especially any details on increased knowledge as a result of your services, improved credit scores as a result of your products, or even your development services, as well as overall improvement in one's financial situation as a result of your CDFI's activities. I hope you found these tips helpful. For additional tips and guidance from the fund consulting staff, please view the other FA videos in this channel. Best of luck with completing your application.